Hey everyone, geophysicist Stefan Burns here. We are right now in what I would call a grand energetic harmonic convergence, where you have multiple separate, very powerful energetic events converging together in time. Most people would think of these things as separate and unrelated, but my philosophy in general and what the universe kind of shows is that it's all connected together. We have this interstellar object, 3I Atlas, flying through our solar system at incredible velocity. It's reaching its perihelion, its closest approach to the sun tomorrow, October 29th. Today is the 28th. We have one of the biggest and strongest hurricanes in the Atlantic to ever form happening right now, making landfall over Jamaica. Please pray for the Jamaicans. The winds are up to about 200 miles per hour, gusts to 250 miles per hour. I've been to actually Negril. I've been to Jamaica twice. Negril is the west point right here. It's going right over Negril. Beautiful place. Some of these buildings, I don't think really any buildings are rated for 200 miles per hour sustained winds and gusts up to 250. The pressure is like 895 millibars, something like that. It's below 900. Very few hurricanes reach below that. It rapidly intensified from a tropical storm to a Category 5, the strongest category there is, in about 48 hours. This is really intense. We also have had a slight solar storm impact, so we do have enhanced space weather conditions right now. Nothing crazy. We are not in a geomagnetic storm, but it certainly doesn't help to have more of these energy fluctuations across the planet. We have a coronal hole high-speed stream impact coming in within the next 24 or 48 hours or so. This coronal hole in particular being well known because it's been rotating around the sun now 15 times since actually last October. So it's been an entire year where this structure has been on the sun, and it's been correlated exactly in time with multiple high magnitude 7+ earthquakes. So we are also right now in a global seismic burst already, as forecasted a few days ago on the channel. There was a seismic lull, nothing over magnitude 6 for about 9 days. I was like, guys, magnitude 6 earthquakes are coming back. We're probably going to get them to cluster. Well, we just had a magnitude 6.4 Banda Sea, Indonesia. The actual magnitude it just came in. So we'll have to check to see what the magnitude is. It could be a little bit higher or lower. It's probably 6.4. We've just had a bunch of magnitude 6 earthquakes. One hit Turkey, 6.5. Another spot in Indonesia, also magnitude 6 there. We've had some just earthquakes all over. So we'll talk about the earthquake burst. We also just had the strongest earthquake in 3 years in 1 month at Yellowstone supervolcano. It's not a big earthquake, magnitude 3.8, but the largest in that zone in more than 3 years. The one prior to that was September 2022 at a magnitude 3.9. And Yellowstone typically doesn't get earthquakes above magnitude 4. So anytime you get close to that, 3.8, 3.9, 4, 4.1, 4.2, that's a big earthquake for Yellowstone. So we have that happening as well. We have Comet A6 Lemmon getting closer to its perihelion. Very, very, very large plasma tail extending behind it. Now visible to the naked eye if you have good viewing conditions, and comets are typically seen as omens. So there's just a lot happening at this moment in time. It's a grand energetic harmonic convergence. And so all these things are connected together in ways beyond our understanding. Our feeble minds can't comprehend how the universe actually works. We're doing our best though to do that. What we can do, and this is kind of just in general the rule of thumb in life, is to simply detach and observe. Not to really think too much, just to detach, observe, and just see what is happening in the current moment. And well, this is what's happening in the current moment. We've had a bunch of explosions on the far side of the sun, specifically around October 21st, the superior conjunction of this interstellar object 3I Atlas is when we had the biggest one. And then we had a sequence of explosions that followed, more than 4. There's been some follow-up ones, not as strong as the first 4, but still pumping out energy. This affects the entire energy flow across the entire solar system. So things are really quite wild right now. So we're going to do a complete breakdown and update as to what is happening, just so you guys are all aware. This is what we do on the channel. So we cover what's happening energetically here on Earth by examining earthquake activity, volcanoes, global energy bursts, and the Schumann resonances, and other geophysical energies. Also weather. Here is our GIF of the true color satellite view from GOES 19, I believe, for Hurricane Melissa, big cyclone. And they also layered in the lightning flash density. So this is a tremendous amount of lightning right there. So there's also, this electromagnetic component. If we are talking about weather, look at all the lightning there on the side of the hurricane. Look at this nice Fibonacci spiral, right? This fractal golden ratio geometry exists across the entire universe. It's all connected together. So we're going to discuss this, the earthquake burst, everything else I just touched on. And then at the end, we are going to do what we can to help harmonize these energies by performing a global meditation for harmonization. Here on the channel, all of us together, we can make some sort of impact and difference. We don't know how much, whether it's very significant or just teeny bit significant, but it's not going to hurt. That is for sure the case. So I am traveling right now. I don't have my full kit, but I do have 2 Tibetan singing bowls, as well as my tuning forks here from Biofield Tuning, Eileen McCusick, who was just in Jamaica actually. Her husband's there now, and so she knows a lot of people specifically in this Negril area, and we're all praying. So we're going to do that together. So hi everyone, welcome to the channel, and I just want to make sure everything is looking good with the live stream, and we are going to get into it. So okay, let's start off with our public advisory for this hurricane. Just get to the most pertinent information right from the beginning. And that's right here. This is the latest update from NOAA. A lot of people for NOAA right now are still working unpaid because of the government shutdown in the United States, because they recognize that it is critical what they do to help others. So a lot of these people flying the planes in to the hurricane. We have a video of that right here. Actually, check this out. This is a plane that flew into Hurricane Melissa yesterday. This eye wall was like, at that moment in time, the top of the clouds were very, very cold, meaning that it extended up to the stratosphere. So it's like 50,000 feet or more. So it went up tremendously high, reaching to the bottom of the stratosphere. So it's basically like a perfect textbook cyclone, but it's going to be very destructive. It already is over Jamaica. So our thoughts and prayers are really with all of them. But here is our latest public advisory. I haven't read this yet. I just loaded it up. We're going to do it live together. Melissa's eye is approaching the southwestern coast of Jamaica. Stay in your shelter. This is the 12 p.m. Eastern Domestic Time position update. This is an extremely dangerous and life-threatening situation. Do not leave your shelter as the eye passes over, because in the eye of a cyclone or hurricane cyclone, it's actually quite calm. That's where things are calm. It's chaos all around it, but the eye is fairly calm. But it's not that big, and these things can move fast. So if you go out when the eye wall is there and you're in the eye, I mean, that could be cool. Probably an incredible experience, but then very quickly those clouds can come back. And if we go back to our GIF here, you see, look at all the lightning flashes there right on the edges of the eye wall. So those clouds, if you go back here to our eye wall, these clouds are covering, just behind them there are massive electrical currents that are flowing through lightning strikes and plasma and everything. So you get some incredibly powerful electromagnetic potentials that build up in these strongest of storms, and then they arc and discharge in between. So when that thing comes back over, it could be very deadly. So it's very important to shelter in place. I mean, if we read a little bit further, they'll say residents should remain in place throughout the passage of these conditions. Protect yourself from wind. Best thing you can do is to put as many walls as possible between you and the outside. An interior room without windows is ideal, because those windows, can flex and then all of a sudden break, and now there's glass flying everywhere. So you want solid concrete walls, ideally. And ideally one where you can avoid falling trees. The safest place you can be is in a building, even like a basement is probably better. cover yourself with a mattress and wear a helmet for added protection. That's how serious this is. This is a Category 5 landfall, the strongest hurricane landfall to ever hit Jamaica in recorded history. Now, of course, this has been happening not landfalls to Jamaica every year, but these cyclones that form in the Atlantic and the Caribbean happen every year. And this goes back, of course, millions of years. But this is as far as I know, it's the strongest ever hurricane to make landfall over Jamaica. They've had some other big ones, but this is the strongest. Record setting, again, 200 miles per hour for the hurricane. Winds or so, it's in that 180 to 200 range based off the latest information that I know. Gusts up to 250, and the eye wall, or the lowest pressure is below 900 millibars, more around like 896, 895, but that could keep dropping. You get to below 890 and it's like really record breaking. So yeah, really, really intense things happening right now in the Caribbean, specifically Jamaica. And let's go back to this GIF one more time before we move on. We're talking about Jamaica right now. Cuba could be next. So we don't know how much this hurricane is going to reduce in intensity as it moves over this wonderful place on the planet. I love Jamaica. The people there are so nice. They're amazing. It's likely to probably reduce in intensity by the time it gets to Cuba if it continues along that path. Maybe it makes landfall at Category 3 or 2, hopefully less and less. It is possible, though, that this just continues to cruise over and slams into Cuba next, because right now the ocean temperatures are extremely warm in the Caribbean and very deep with that warmth. So it's just pooling so much energy out that it basically has an unlimited reservoir of energy to pull from. So this will kind of reduce its intensity a little bit by going over land, but it's pretty quickly going to go back over, passing again right over the west part of Jamaica, and then it's going to be right back in deep warm water, and it could re-intensify. There's a lot of unknowns as to what's happening here. And if you look at the historic data for hurricanes, we're having slightly more most powerful hurricanes than we were like 20 years ago. So like the number of Category 5s has gone up a little bit. It's not tremendously more. It's like 5% more, something like that. But the number of hurricanes that have re-intensified, they hit a certain level, they drop down, then they do a second intensification. That number has gone up dramatically. So that goes to show you some of the changing energetic dynamics on our planet. And so, yeah, there's just changing things. Earth's getting warmer, but we're also getting closer to the end of an interglacial period, right? Things are just becoming more volatile. That's what it is. So a lot of really intense things happening right now. Please pray for the Jamaicans. We'll do that collective meditation at the end of the video. And here we see more. This is where you get this GIF. I'll link this in the video description after the live stream is over. But we can also go to band 13 here, for example. And this shows us the temperature. So here we see the temperature. And look at how low temperature this is. Now, this was even showing up a little lower temperature yesterday. So I think that eye wall has gone down a little bit, but this is showing how high up that's reaching. And we see the outline of Jamaica there. Perfect eye wall, perfect circle. And yeah, this is just really intense. And here's the lightning flash density. That's what we were checking out. Here we have just the plain geo color. So you can see what that looks like. This is all taken from geostationary satellites that hover over effectively the Atlantic and the East Coast. They track that position so we can get really good high resolution data and imagery on all of this. Now let's talk about this earthquake burst, because this is continuing. Here we have our USGS latest earthquakes map, and I have this set for the past week, magnitude 2.5 and greater. You'll notice on our list, newest earthquakes, this 6.4 just happened. And actually, let me refresh this. It should auto refresh, but let's just do it to be careful. Here we see that 6.4 bond to sea. We actually had some big earthquake activity there not too long ago. You'll notice that's fairly close by to this other big earthquake sequence that occurred, this being a 6.2 right here. So that wasn't too long ago. Let's switch it to largest magnitude first. And I'm not sure if I have to switch this back. Okay, great. So we had this 6.2 on the 26th, and now we have this 6.4 just nearby on the 28th. And this is a notable subduction arc right here, a little bit of subduction arc, a trench, that type of deal. And we're getting some big earthquakes in this region. We've had big earthquakes all around this area for about the past month or so, though we did have a lull. And we had this magnitude 6 earthquake yesterday, pretty late yesterday universal time. And we see that there's been some other earthquakes around it, magnitude 4s. So a lot of magnitude 4s actually, which makes sense. This is a magnitude 6. So the highest aftershock will typically be 1 magnitude less. So this is pretty strong earthquake and getting close to Istanbul. The Turks are really worried about a big earthquake with Istanbul because of course it's a huge city, wonderful city, but huge city. And the earthquakes have been propagating westward along the North Anatolia Fault. This is not on that fault, but we've had some earthquake activity kind of in this zone here. We've had some in this zone here. And then over the past century, it's been moving this way. And these have been like big magnitude 7 quakes. So just the fact that there are other earthquakes nearby, right, puts more stress on this entire section because of how this energy propagates out and then loads some stress onto the faults. It's not usually like that much, like, oh, you should be worried imminently, but as we can see down here, sometimes you do get the sequence of 1 and then 2, or sorry, 1 and then 2, right? So certainly the energy of this earthquake here, this 6.2, influenced and probably helped tip this fault over to a 6.4. We also see the biggest earthquake of the past week occurred yesterday on the 27th. So yesterday was a big earthquake day. That's why I'm covering it now. I dropped my video on 3 at Atlas yesterday, so it didn't make sense to immediately do a live stream, but I wanted to see how Hurricane Melissa evolved. But we see the 6.5 here, also a magnitude 6 aftershock, which is kind of interesting because again, typically be a magnitude less. So these are more of a doublet than they are like a clear aftershock and then, or a main shock and the aftershock sequence. So this could be preliminary activity for something bigger. It's certainly possible. The Caribbean can get big earthquakes, like big earthquakes. I mean, Jamaica has, the Port Royal earthquake was like magnitude 7.5 or so. That's, I think, the estimate. Took out Port Royal, 2/3 of it just submerged below. And like 10,000 people were living there and most of them died from that. That was hundreds of years ago. But you can get big earthquakes in these locations. So that's the biggest. Interesting to note that it is fairly close in the grand scheme to this massive cyclone, right? We're here along this little arc, and then you get Hurricane Melissa to like this in the zone, and then you get this 6.5 and 6.0 there. So not close enough in my mind to really call it a stormquake, because you do have those. Stormquakes are a thing. They're very interesting, but it is pretty close. So that is something to note, the fact that they're fairly close together. You had that magnitude 6. We also had a magnitude 6 Solomon Islands here. This was on the 25th, right at the very end of the day, universal time, as you can see. This is, I think, one of the ones that kind of kicked it off. Yeah, that's the earthquake that kicked it off. You'll notice all the others. Let me close this out. So we go from this here. This is the 25th, and then we have the 26th there, and then all the others are 27, 28. So this is what started the burst. And then before that, it was all magnitude 5s or less, like magnitude 5.9s or less, going all the way back to the middle of October. So we had nearly like 10 days where we didn't have a magnitude 6. And then that was what I was using to kind of forecast, hey, we have more earthquakes coming. And I think we have even more than this on the way, because we have our sun with a coronal hole, and it is quite spooky looking. We've seen this one before. Let's load this one up. Here is our sun, and this is our 193 angstrom view of the sun, which allows us to see a whole bunch of stuff, but it also allows us to see the solar corona, the atmosphere, the outermost atmosphere of the sun. It's the highest temperature part of the sun as far as we know, millions of degrees Kelvin, very high vibration, low density typically, and these dark spots are even lower density. It's where the solar corona effectively doesn't have much. Like there's a gap in the atmosphere. And that's because you have the magnetic field flowing out. The sun generates a magnetic field, right? So it's this field of force that ions can travel along. It's flowing out of this coronal hole deep into space, and it's soon going to connect to the Earth because it's approaching that geoeffective position, which is where the high-speed stream naturally spirals out, just like the Fibonacci spiral, right? It's all, we see the Fibonacci spiral with the cyclones on Earth. We see the Fibonacci spiral with the solar wind, and then we see the Fibonacci spiral in the actual shape of our galaxy, right? That's pretty wild. And you can look at the cauliflower and all these other things that have that Fibonacci spiral encoded into them. So just that perfect geometry, that sacred geometry. So this is really a grand harmonic convergence that's unfolding. This is going to be hitting us starting about probably 24, 36 hours. That'd probably actually go a little bit on the longer side because we don't have much of a mid-latitude component. We did. This seemed to have closed up a little bit right here. And then we have these other two sections up top. It actually kind of makes a little bit of like a jack-o'-lantern. So Halloween's coming up, the veil's thin, and we have this spooky face on the sun. So kind of interesting how the sun sometimes plays along with, or seems to, right? You make up your own mind on this stuff. I'm not here to convince anybody, but it seems to play along with some of these traditions that we have here on Earth. This is going to increase geomagnetic volatility. We already have, in fact, had a coronal mass ejection impact. Nothing crazy, but let's give it a look. We are having our solar wind right now trend upwards. So let me get this lined up. And here we have the past 3 days. Okay. So we have down below our geomagnetic volatility measured by the KP index. What they do is they take all these magnetometers on the surface of the Earth that are recording Earth's magnetic field and the fluctuations. They compile that into this index. And 0 is very low fluctuations to the field, and 9 is extreme fluctuation. So we are, that's a G5 storm if you get to a 9 value on this. We're only at 3.67, but you do see how it's ramped up like this. So we were very, very quiet, now it's going up. So that's kind of the thing. We already have a lot happening, right? Hurricane Melissa, the perihelion of 3i Atlas, A6 Lemmon getting closer and closer to the sun, a huge comet, massive tail, the global seismic burst, yet there are certain things that aren't active that would increase the energy even further. If we were in a G2, G3 storm, well, now we're really cooking, right? Our radiation belts are fairly decharged right now. If they're fully charged, boom, the chef's back in the kitchen. So we already have a lot happening, that's the thing, and these things are going to keep going up. We have the full supermoon coming up on November 5th and 6th. So we are in a waxing phase for lunar energies, both just in simply the light that the sun or that the moon is reflecting to the Earth, but eventually it'll enter into the magnetotail, and then also you can bring in the metaphysical component of lunar energies. And let's not forget the gravitational component. Supermoons are closer to the Earth than micromoons. That's the closest that they get, about 356,000 kilometers away from the Earth, whereas a micromoon is about 420,000 kilometers away. So there's a pretty big deviation between a super and a micromoon. And a full moon already is that most energetic moon. Whereas a new moon, you don't get any light from it. So we have a full supermoon, the biggest of the year, on November 5th through the 6th. And so we're in this waxing phase, and we're not even like, you know, really cooking as it relates to space weather. But there has been some stuff happening in general. We'll talk about that. All the far side explosions towards 3i Atlas. That has been cooking big time, but they've been on the far side. Doesn't mean it doesn't interact with us in energetic ways, but they weren't direct shots right to us. If they were, we would have been in a very long duration, severe to extreme geomagnetic storm, G4, G5 level, almost certainly. So here though, we see our interplanetary magnetic field. So this is the magnetic field strength of the solar wind, you know, that's created by the plasma, the magnetic field created by the plasma. We see here that we were already trending up, but we were about average. Average is like 5 nanotesla. And then we started to go up a little bit. There's 7, but 8, nothing too crazy. We drop back down. Here we see kind of like a leap up to 10, right? Going up to 10, even like 11. And now we are trending back to those high values, which we just spiked at 11. So about 2 times stronger than normal. Various parts of this work good connections to the Earth, the vertical component of the magnetic field, because you can do an X, Y, Z, right? That type of deal. It has been fluctuating between good connection and bad connection. So this isn't anything crazy. The density is kind of in that normal zone. This is 7 particles per cubic centimeter. Our velocity is about normal at around 400 kilometers per second. Temperature looks about normal. This is enhanced by double, which isn't super anomalous or anything, right? We have this happen at times, and we're having this on-off connection, which is why our geomagnetic activity is about, you know, it's getting closer to active conditions. You're in active conditions once you're at a KP of 4, and then you're in minor storming once you're at a KP of 5. So it has been increasing. Look at how the density kind of increased here with that first shock. This is that coronal mass ejection impact, but it wasn't a super big one. But we did have that, and the velocity is going up. So all these things are slowly trending. We're still in the waxing crescent phase for the moon, right? So it's still early. We're still seeing this slowly ramp up. We're not in anything crazy yet. So, but meanwhile, we're having, you know, this insane hurricane with Melissa and this energetic seismic burst already active at play. So this could ramp up even more is what I'm saying. It's certainly possible. Then on the far side of the sun, these big sunspots that have been blasting out big solar storms, just huge explosions on the far side, are soon to rotate into view. This guy right there has not diminished in size. It's going to keep moving, and so it's going to appear in about probably about 2-3 days or so. It's going to appear on the sun. And this one right there was looking similar to it, but this latest helioseismic data, this allows us to image in low resolution what's happening on the far side of the sun. It has kind of broken up, but now has a wider extent. So this is low resolution. We'll just have to wait and see what this looks like once it rotates into view. But I'm putting my chips on both of these rotating into view and being big sunspots. Now, whether they like ramp up again activity, even maybe grow more, increasing their magnetic complexity, that's a big question. That's an unknown. We don't know. But as of right now, they look quite significant. Now let's look at our coronagraph view for the past 7 days, because this shows exactly what I'm talking about as it relates to the superior conjunction of 3i Atlas and the commencement of these big solar explosions. This is something that we forecasted on the channel nearly 3 months in advance. I said, hey guys, when we have something like this, a comet, an interstellar object, something that's not normally in our solar system getting close, it usually provokes the sun. There's some electric short circuit dynamic that takes place where you actually are just creating a shorter circuit, which then would cause often an expression of energy. And you need the sunspots to do that. So we had the sunspots right in position, and they are these magnetic vortices, also have that spiral pattern to them, right? So you have those magnetic fields extending out. You have this big object with this plasma field around it, so therefore an electromagnetic field that's stronger than just normal background space in the solar wind. Fly in, connect to it. There's some exchange of energy information, probably also dust and particles and stuff, plasma, and well, boom, boom, boom. So that superior conjunction with 3i Atlas is on the 21st. Look at the date here. This is the 21st, okay? And there's our Giga Chad coronal mass ejection. That was one of the biggest of this solar cycle. Thankfully, that was not directed towards us. We get the second one nearly a day later. Right here, boom shakalaka. The third one will follow up a day after that. And then we had a fourth one. There was also a fifth and a sixth and a seventh, but they started to get weaker and weaker. So you'll notice that each one gets a little bit weaker than the last one. That flash of light right there, that is the Earth. This is a geostationary satellite, so the Earth sometimes gets in the way. We see our other one come up right here. This is our fourth one. And this was also pretty big too, pretty fast velocity. Big filament that went off down below, as you see. But you see that there's still constantly, even after and in between these big explosions, we get these smaller ones that kind of flaring out as well. There's another one right there. So it's been basically nonstop action on the far side of the sun. There's another, there's some more, right? So that's going to be rotating into view soon. It's effectively supercharged 3i Atlas. I've said this a few times now. In deep space, it's estimated that something would get about 10 to negative 7, 10 to negative 8 watts per square meter of energy just from the cosmic background radiation and from the irradiance from all the stars nearby. At the perihelion distance of 1.36 astronomical units from the sun, Earth to sun is 1 AU for reference. So this is in between Earth and Mars, that orbit, those orbits. That is a solar radiance value of about 735. So let's say 750 watts per square meter. That's a huge jump, like 10 orders of magnitude or more. So like 10 times 10, that's a lot of zeros, folks. So it already has a lot more energy that's being received from the sun, just from the light output, visible, infrared, ultraviolet, all the different frequencies. It was getting a ton of X-ray radiation, extreme ultraviolet radiation from these solar explosions and the plasma itself and the solar wind. It was in this environment where there's not much plasma in interstellar space. All of a sudden it's getting hit by the solar wind. So all these factors have been supercharging 3i Atlas, approaching its perihelion tomorrow. The big unknown as to whether it is just some interstellar object slash comet of very bizarre characteristics, or if it's something other than that. And it starts to do course deviations, changes trajectory. This is a time window right now. We do have some eyes on it, but our capability to see it right now is very, very limited. And I'm actually not sure about exactly right now whether we can see it with our chronograph. We did have it in this chronograph going from the 18th or so to the 24th, but I wasn't able to find it on the C3 chronograph, which has a wider view, but it's an older chronograph. The technology is just a little older. I couldn't find it on that personally. There's also NASA's Punch, which is like a fleet of satellites, and we were able to see it on Punch back around the beginning of this video, which is like the 19th, the 20th and such. But I'm not sure if Punch can see it now. So we may be totally blind. I think maybe we have a chance of seeing it, but you're not seeing it from Earth with telescopes. That we know. But these sort of solar chronographs can kind of see it, but we're basically flying blind as it relates to what 3i Atlas is doing. We're just going to have to wait until the middle of November, really, to get an update as to, oh, it's where we think it is, or wait, it's not where it is. Like, okay, like bad, like everyone, like hunker down, just like Melissa, because where is this thing, right? That's a possibility. I don't think it's a high possibility, but it's a possibility. We can't ignore it. Anyone that's just like blatantly ignoring that possibility is not thinking clearly. Now, anyone that's like just all in on that, I also think isn't thinking really clearly. We have to like examine all this from the best logical, open-minded perspective. Like not get carried away, but also like keep in mind that the universe is much more vast and expansive than we take it to be here on Earth, because we're stuck, driving our car to work and paying taxes and all this stuff, like all the minutia and nonsense of our planet. So let's check out some imagery from Comet Lemmon. And it's easy to do. Tons of astronomers are posting stuff on Twitter X, so we can just type in A6 Lemmon here. And let's just get a sense of what's popping up. There's a whole bunch of beautiful images of Lemmon. We'll also look at it in Stellarium so we get a sense of it. But, well, yeah, I should be able to load up in Stellarium. Here's a photo of A6 Lemmon. We have another one right here. This is a time lapse. Look at how much its tail is rippling, and look at all the junk from Starlinks and stuff. So we have effectively clouded our sky with a whole bunch of nonsense. But this is a fairly short time lapse. Look how active that plasma tail is. You also have you have two tails. You have a dust tail and you also have a plasma tail. So this comet is getting closer and closer and closer to the sun. Its perihelion is about the 9th of November, or the 8th of November. Look at how far it stretches across the sky. It's tremendously long, and it is now visible to naked eye under dark sky conditions. So really incredible stuff happening with A6 Lemmon, in addition to 3i Atlas and more. So yeah, there's just, it's a grand energetic harmonic convergence, right? That's really what this is. And these are special moments. They don't happen all the time. And look, there's even me right there. I'm live. Boom. Hey guys on Twitter. Welcome to the live stream. Used to only do it on YouTube, but we're here now as well. So love all of you. It's a wild west on Twitter, that's for sure. But you can follow me there if you want to get intermittent updates, like in between, because YouTube videos take time in production. So I will post things in between my YouTube videos to Twitter. So that's at Stefan Burns Geo. So StefanBurnsGeo if you want to stay up to date on that. I recommend it because I often post all the updates that come in and then I compile them to make the video here on YouTube and with the live streams. And some other fun stuff as well. So that is what's happening right now with our planet. Pretty wild stuff. I don't think I'm really missing anything at this point. I think we've covered it all. So let's get into the most important part of this video, which is the global meditation for harmonization. We want to help equalize and harmonize these energies. Pray for the people that are being affected by them, both from the earthquake striking various places around the globe, Indonesia, Turkey, also the Caribbean, and then for Hurricane Melissa and the Jamaicans there. So really all over the place. And then also, as I mentioned, here is this strongest earthquake in Yellowstone over the past 3 years. And it actually just had a triple sequence right here. So 3.7 makes that one of the strongest earthquakes in 3 years there. It was a 3.8. It looks like they just downgraded to a 3.7. And then a 2.7 and a 2.5. So a triple burst there, as we see. Mammoth, Wyoming, Mammoth, Wyoming, Mammoth, Wyoming. So Yellowstone is a supervolcano. It's a big boy. And there's some people online saying the caldera is fractured, it's broken, and it's dead. It's never going to wake up again. I wouldn't put my money on that, right? To think that we really understand what's happening in the deep earth and just some surface observations tells us that, the mantle plume coming up is completely disconnected and gone. I wouldn't be so sure about that. In general, I would say it's probably still very, very active and ready to go at any time. Based off of the reoccurrence interval, that's the case. It could be a million years from now, though. It could be tomorrow. We don't know with Yellowstone, but that is situated effectively directly right in the center of the U.S. or North America, right? Is that a coincidence that you get this hotspot plume supervolcano pretty much central in the entire North American continent? It's kind of interesting how these things work out. Or another example right here, look at the yin-yang of this. You have Hawaii here in the center of the Pacific plate effectively. Not exactly center, but let's look at that. It's almost pretty much right in the center of the Pacific plate. That's like the biggest mantle plume hotspot. One of the biggest at least, but probably the biggest on the planet because the volcanoes on the Big Island make up the biggest volcano on the planet if you look at their sheer size and scale. And then over here we get another one, but this time over the North American continent. So very interesting yin-yang relationship there. So yeah, it's important that we track all this stuff. A lot of activity right now, and I will keep you up to date every step of the way if you subscribe to the channel. So I've been your host, Stefan Burns. Let us get into our global meditation for harmonization. And we'll do that with the tools that we have, which is ourselves, our focus, our third eye, our breath, and also some Tibetan singing bowls and some tuning forks. So make sure you find a comfortable position, whether that's seated or laying down. And so we have, what note is this again? I don't remember exactly the note. But we have our small Tibetan singing bowl here. Still has some sand in it from the beach. So some California beach sand. And then we have our larger one. This is a C note. That I know. This guy also has some sand in the beach from it. So we are going to harmonize together and pray for peace and hopefully the best resolution we can for what's happening right now in Jamaica with these earthquakes. So let's begin and let's just find our center. Just observe your breathing. It's easy to be agitated nowadays, anxious and stressed, but we release this. We allow our body to just be, to let go. You want to draw your breath in with your belly. So your belly breaths, then your rib cage, and then your chest expands. So inside out. Just relax. We are here together. We will get through this. It's truly an incredible thing that we're doing right now. Because 20 years ago, there was no one coming together globally to do this stuff in a real-time way like now. So we are working with these manifestation energy fields more consciously than ever before in history. It's not just Jamaica and the beautiful people there that are right now in a Category 5 storm. It really is global. There's so much uncertainty, unknown, chaos, a great transformation that's occurring. But we have faith. And we take the gift of these heightened energies to fuel it towards the resolution, the regrowth, the rebuilding, the creation of a new earth founded on principles of love, caring, community, environmental stewardship, and not on hate, division, divide, greed, gluttony. We release these lower expressions and embrace our human journey. And the Jamaicans are so wise. They have a spiritual connection unlike few groups on the planet. They truly do. So it's no surprise that they are taking the brunt of this storm. But we are here with them. Now focus on your third eye. And what do you see? Right here. Focus right here. In between your eyes. What do you see? We pray for the Alaskans as well that were affected by that storm about a week or two ago. Some devastating flooding there. I saw the earth glowing with light. $222 along with 432 hertz. This is sound, frequency, and vibration. It's literally just the blueprint of the universe. (528 Hertz). We balance the energies through our stillness. We hold space amongst the turbulence. We are the eye wall, the center of the hurricane. And from there, we diffuse the energies to help protect those in danger. We ask God to reduce the intensity of Hurricane Melissa just as rapidly as it intensified. Archangel Gabriel. Now we do some work. 174 Hertz. Join us in meditation. Relax, close your eyes, breathe, feel stillness within and without. Pay attention to what you feel in your body, to what you see in your mind's eye. Just observe. You go even lower in frequency, 144. (144 Hertz). Ooh. That's the frequency right now. It's like so non-harmonious. That high-pitched scream is what we want to get out. That's what everyone's feeling right now. We have to be mindful of how we combine our frequencies. 144 by itself sounds very nice. 528 sounds nice. Together, they're not a good combo. That's 432, sorry. Here's 528. So what energies do we combine together? Where are the things in your life that don't mix and maybe you haven't realized it yet? And they're creating this interference 8,822 viewers. 8822. We come back, take a deep breath, and again, just relax. Slowly start to bring movement to your body by gently moving your fingers and toes. Observe how you feel as a whole. How do you feel different now than just even 10 minutes ago? You can slowly open your eyes. Welcome back. Thank you for joining in this global harmonization meditation. Together, we have only helped the strong energies that are flowing around the planet, help to bring peace and love and harmony to many people, including ourselves. The mission starts with us and then expands and blossoms outwards from there. So thank you all so much for watching. I have been your host, Stefan Burns. If you'd like to stay up to date on what is happening energetically here on Earth, then you can subscribe to the channel. You can also listen to me on Spotify. I'm uploading my content there now as well. So if you're, for example, driving the car, doing something, you want to just listen to audio, you can do that with Spotify. So make sure you give me a follow there. I'm on Twitter at Stefan Burns Geo. And I'll be back with more video updates for you. As things keep evolving, perihelion of 3-eye atlas tomorrow. If you have not yet seen my video on my most recent 3-eye atlas video, make sure to watch that. You can click that right here. You can also go to the Earth Evolution web store by clicking this link right there. Thank you all so much. God bless each and every single one of you. Please take care of yourselves. Namaste. And I'll see you all in the next video. Thank you.